Welcome to another edition of the Javier Mendez podcast, and we are here today. It is a August 28th, Monday, and you've got Usman back in training camp. Saw him on Instagram bopping around doing some sparring. Jet lag or no jet lag? What's going on with Usman?
Jet lag.
Jet lag.
He stayed in the easy room. He didn't no sparring today because jet lag's a real thing, and we don't want to get the champ hurt for any reason, stupidity wise, So no, he needs to be 100% there, and there's no way you can come in and on 2 days, a jet lag, think you're gonna get over it and start sparring hard. No, it's not a good idea. So no, he's jet lag. Him and Amaru. He come with Amaru, another a future superstar from Khabib gym. Amaru. He's another great one coming on the way up.
Didn't he just fight in Bellator, Amaru?
No, Amaru fights. He's going to fight in UAE Warriors.
Okay.
On I believe October 20th for the title. He's 6-0. After that, I'm expecting him to be 7-0. Then after that, I expect Ali, the great one, to get him in a big show like UFC or Bellator, ONE FC. I mean, and somebody, because the kid's ready for the big leagues.
How is your other fighter doing in how many fighters do you have in ONE FC right now? Didn't you have one of the Dagestani crew over there?
I have Sagid.
Yeah, Sagid.
I think he's 2-0 there, and I have Ahmed the Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
He's I don't know how many fights he's had there, but he's had maybe 6 fights there. Maybe I think he's he's got 6 fights maybe there. Yeah.
So you get one, you get people in the PFL, you get people in Bellator and the UFC. You get them everywhere, and UAE Warriors.
All big gyms have fighters everywhere. If they usually do. If you got good quality fighters, they can't go to all one organization. So all the big gyms that and this is not the biggest gym by student base, or fighter base, I guess I should say. We're not the biggest by far in that regard, but we definitely are a top gym. And so if you're a top gym, you're going to have some fighters in the top leagues, of course.
Yeah,
very normal.
You definitely have them all filled. It's like you get your people out there kicking butt. So Usman's back. He's going to be fighting Brent Primus down in Bellator in San Diego, which is a nice little trip for you. San Diego is a beautiful place. And it's going to be a pretty big show. I guess Scott's got this one pumped up for Bellator.
Well, yeah, he's the main event. It's Bellator 300, so it's a big event for them, milestone. So this will be a big event. There's 4 world title fights on this, and Usman's the last one on it, which is it's a big honor for him, and it's a right step in the right direction for Bellator to recognize that he's the future superstar. So put him in the main event. People are going to want to see this kid all the time because he's really exciting. He really is. Really exciting, very charismatic, and you want fighters like that. They please the crowd, and he's definitely a crowd pleaser.
It's funny because I remember we were doing a podcast with Scott, and he had just acquired or just bringing him on board way back when he's bringing Usman on board. I go, "You're gonna love this one, buddy." He's like, "Really? Yeah." I go, "Oh yeah. Trust me. I trust Javier, and of course he trusts you. He's known you for 20 years. He knows if it comes out of AKA, you can pretty much bet on it. I'm pretty sure that's how he looks at it as a promoter,
What Scott's he's very smart. Scott's very smart. He doesn't listen to one person. He'll take advice from multiple people, and if it comes up with the same answer and he's got the same conclusion, then he goes with that. He doesn't just take my advice and go with it. No. He'll listen to what I have to say, then he'll have somebody else with credibility. If they say the same thing, he's gonna go with that. And if he has someone of credibility like myself or someone like me, like a Greg Jackson type guy, and they tell him something and he feels the same, then he won't go anywhere else. He'll just stick with what he feels and the credibility of another high level coach. So that's the way it works usually with him. So it's very smart. He's not going against what some of the experts are. Or I guess you can call us so-called experts, right? But he's smart. Scott's one of the smart promoters out there. He knows how to do it right. That's why you never see him in the limelight in any situation, because Scott Coker chooses not to be in the limelight. He chooses not to be controversial. He on purpose is where he's at because that's where he feels really comfortable doing the best promotion job he can do, and that's what he does. That's why, to me, he's great promoter. Great promoter. Not just, I mean, he's the best in my opinion.
Well, it's interesting because you're not going to see TMZ Scott Coker coming out of the Viper Room in LA. No, he's at home with his family or out having a coffee in the morning. Nothing too crazy. He's more focused on the business. And
but he's always been that way. He's always been that way. Look how I spell my name, Javier.
I was looking at Javier, and I'm like, Javier. Is that some French name? It's a new
dude. I typed that in. I thought I typed an R. It's like I just noticed that right now.
I was watching and we're going, okay,
I believe it. No, I didn't do it on purpose. I just, my eyes are getting worse as they're getting older. The eyes going, Javier. Okay, now I messed up.
I'll do that to the wife here. Can you read this recipe for me? I don't know how long I'm going to cook this for. Can you look at this? Yeah, like instead of wearing glasses all the time. But it's funny. Yeah, Javier's coming out soon. A new cologne. It's going to be our sponsor. It's fantastic.
Yeah. You want to talk about driving, right? Okay, we were at Napa this weekend for the fights. We had 5 of our guys fighting. We went 2 and 3. We lost the first 3 fights like crazy. Wow. Our amateurs all got whooped. Good amateurs, top-notch amateurs got beat, and our pros didn't. Our pros won first round, but our amateurs got beat. And so I'm driving on the way back, and I'm looking at my navigation, going, and Cain Velasquez right next to me, and I'm thinking he's looking at the navigation with me. So I'm going, does that go right here? He goes, yeah. And I make a right. Nope. I'm going, oh man. So then I did it again, and I asked him, and he goes, yeah. And I said, I did it again. So I went the wrong place again through navigation. Then I said, Cain, you know what? Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. I got it. Don't worry about it. I got it. So I'm listening to the navigation, right? And I've never done this in my whole entire life. So I go to the stoplight, and I'm thinking I hear right turn, right? At the left turn at the stoplight, right? So after the light turns green, I automatically go left. Wait! And I'm going down a one-way street, and the cars are coming at me, and I'm like, dude, I'm like going, oh my God, I'm going, oh boy. And then so really quick, Cain goes, turn around. So I turn around, I go back the other way. I can imagine. And he's like telling the people that are in front of me, I'm sorry, we're sorry. And like, dude, we could almost be dead, So then Cain goes, you want me to drive? And I said, no, I'm good. And then I go,
I got this.
No. I said after a while, I said, you know what? No, you go ahead and take it, because I'm thinking that was 3 mistakes.
Yeah.
In a row within less than 5 minutes. And the last one was a doozy. I've never done that. And thank God the oncoming traffic was not hardly there, as they were about a good 1,000 yards away from us, right? So thank God they weren't speeding up, and they saw the idiot going against them. The first thing I'm thinking is those wild car chases. You see where the guys go onto oncoming traffic, winding in and that. So in my mind, I'm thinking wide in and out, and I'm thinking, said, no, turn around. So I turned around, and I was like, oh man, it's horrible. I almost ended our life. I'm like, oh boy, not smart.
Well, yeah,
so that was my story. That my biggest goof.
That's the best. That's ever. The best part of the podcast today. I think so. I think that's the winner.
I've never done that. I've never done that in my life. I was like, oh man, it's like driving at night and going through the navigation. And I'm sure the navigation said make a right at the light, not make a left. But I thought I heard make a left. Probably just make a right. And I wasn't paying attention to the navigation. I should have paid attention, like I said I was, and I didn't. I'm like, oh.
He took Cain on an adventure.
Yeah.
Is that like for you guys? You've known each other so many years, like over a decade, right? You and Cain?
Since 2006, I believe.
Yeah, that's well over a decade. Yeah, so basically, isn't it like the beginning when you first met him, going on the road trips to the little fights? Was that kind of like a memory lane for you guys, taking a road trip to the under leagues?
No, but you're talking about yeah. Before Cain became like super famous, there was a guy from Salinas, right? That he invited us. You're gonna laugh. He invited us to go to their gym to do meet and greet, right, at this guy's gym. This kid, he invited us, so he called us up, and I'm telling Cain, I go, Cain, I go, we should go. You should get used to learning how to meet people and show what a nice person you are by driving all the way. And he was born in Salinas, right? So this guy was in touch with me, this younger kid, and he said, "Oh my God, you're coming? Yeah, we're coming. So we're driving there, and Cain's like going, "What do you know about this guy?" I go, "I don't know nothing about him. He's a nice guy." I go, "You sure, dude?"
Just at the peak of the story, Javier went to somewhere. I'm sure he'll be right back. What a cliffhanger! Wait,
what did you hear?
You said you left us on a great cliffhanger. Go ahead.
Okay, so we were driving, and it's like about an hour, almost 2 hours from us, like an hour 45 minutes. Salinas from San Jose, because that's where Cain was born. So he goes, "Okay, cool, we'll go." So we're going down there, and Cain says, "Jav, are you sure this is the right place and they're expecting us?" I go, "Yeah, that's what the guy said. They're expecting us." So we get there, we get to the gym, and we look in there, and we said, the instructor looks at us like, "What are you guys doing here?" I go, "Well, we're here for the meet and greet." The guy's looking at me like, "Huh? Meet and greet? Who invited you?" That's the instructor, the owner of the gym. And I forgot the kid's name. And I said, "So-and-so." He goes, "Huh? We don't have a meet and greet." I go, and Cain's looking at me like, "You."
Oh my God.
There was no meet and greet, but this kid was hiding right around the corner. So he seen us go outside. He comes out all happy, goes, "Oh, yeah." And I said, "Man, you lied to us. You said the gym knew nothing about us. They didn't even know we were coming." So then the instructor said, "Hey, since you guys are here, we do know who you are. Maybe you guys can go ahead and take pictures with the guys." But that was so funny. We got set up by this kid, and the instructor had zero idea that we were going to show up. Cain shows up because he's expecting he's been invited, but we felt like stupid. We're like going, we're here, and the guy's looking at us like, "What are you here for? Meet and greet?"
Oh my gosh, that's funny. I mean, you made me think of another. This is the podcast of funny stories, because it makes it more entertaining for people instead of just reading down the line.
What we did is because of what he did, I talked to him. We went to go eat with him, hung out with him and stuff. I mean, he was just a huge fan.
Number one fan.
Yeah. And oh, I forgot to tell you the other funny part. He was kicked out of this gym. They kicked him out.
Oh. Well,
they kicked him out of the gym. He didn't belong to that gym anymore. They kicked him out. So we were like going, "Oh God."
Well, we want to talk about like appropriating or playing that same kind of game. It was probably over a decade ago, when I was like 15 years ago. I was single, and I'm talking to this gal online, and she's, "Oh, what do you do?" And I go, "I film some MMA stuff." And she saw a picture with me and somebody, and she's calling up the gym, trying to get a hold of some famous fighter. "I know Len. He has to talk to me because I know Len." I did not give her any permission. And she's calling. It could have been your gym or another gym. "Tell him Len said I could talk to him." And I never said that. I never like, "I'll introduce you." I never played any of that BS. But it's funny how somebody hijacked that. And these fighters are going, "Who the hell is Len? And what is she talking about?" It's one of those hijackings of the weird stuff that happens in MMA. Did you used to take him? But did you used to go with Cain down to Mexico on trips down there to get him his first fights?
No. I did not. I did not go to Mexico, but yes, they took him down to try to get him fights in a bull arena, Matador arena.
Bullfight arena.
Try to get fights there. Bullfight. Yeah, and they wouldn't fight him. He'd fight whoever, and no one would fight him. So that was a trip wasted on. We couldn't get Cain any fights at the very beginning because, after his, we thought I was going to get him to 10-0, and then put him in the UFC at 10-0. But we didn't even get that far. We basically got to 2-0, and so what happened is when we gave up on trying to find other fighters to fight him, I had the manager contact Dana White and had a personal, thing where Dana watches him, and Dana watched him train, and Dana's first comment was, "Why the hell is he? Why have we signed this guy?" Because that's how Cain's UFC career started, and is a meeting with Dana, and Dana got to watch him personally work out and train with other guys. And right away, Dana knew what he had. So everybody knew that Saul Cain knew he was a superstar on the rise. Unfortunately, he didn't materialize the way he should have. He's still one of the greats, but he should have been the greatest heavyweight of all time. But
Do you feel like he get a later start, or what was it? Because he had injuries later.
That. Injuries and other things, misfortune. He had a lot of misfortune. So God was not on his side to be the greatest. He was meant to be where he is. He's still one of the greats. And, you can be thankful for that. You got at least that far. He's one of the greats, and what else can you say? His history is history, would have, could have, should have, right? He's not, I could say, he's the greatest. No, he's not. He's the great one. Yeah, but not the greatest.
Yeah, when you start, like, the one thing I was going to say, like, even going back to Scott, you don't just endorse people for the hell of it, like, just throw it out there, like, oh yeah, this guy's the best, and this guy's the best. No, this guy's, and when you probably told him about Usman, he said this is the one, but he wants to hear from 2 or 3 people, even though he knows probabilities. Because you probably haven't. I mean, percentage wise, have you gave him anybody that didn't, like, fizzled out, didn't show up for you the way you thought they would, or?
No. What happened with Usman? This is what happened. He calls me up. He goes, "Hey," he goes, "How's Khabib's brother?" I go, "Okay. What do you mean? How's his brother? How is he?" I said, "What do you mean as a fighter?" I said, "I don't think he has a brother that fights. I think his brother trained, but I don't think he fights." He goes, "Well, someone told me that his brother fights." I said, I'm thinking, man, I don't know. I go, but I say, oh, maybe they're talking about Usman, his cousin. And I said, Scott, if it's Usman, sign him. Whatever you got to do, sign this kid. He's your future. Sign him. Scott goes, okay, good to know, buddy. Thank you. So from that point, knowing, like I told you, Scott does his research. He didn't just talk to me. Trust me. He talked to other people too. But I gave Usman the highest grade because I know I train him. I know how good this kid is. So basically, there you go. How that started. It was Ali who put him in with them. He was the one that pitched him to Bellator. But I don't know who told him he was Khabib's cousin. I don't think Ali did. But somehow or another, maybe, I mean, his brother, not cousin. Sorry, he is his cousin, not his brother. So somebody got the confusion thing with that. Maybe somebody said to Scott, "Oh no, he's Khabib's brother." No, he's his cousin.
Cousins. That's the confusion. They mix up cousins with brothers and brothers with cousins with Khabib. That happens.
Yeah,
it's interesting. I was going to ask you for a story, because this is like, I want this podcast just to be different. It's fun. When you talked about, I remember you telling me how, just because Cain gave me the idea, when you were watching Brock Lesnar, what you were thinking, watching him walk to the ring, and you're like, you saw him for the first time in person. You're sitting there with Cain going like, oh my God. I mean, can you recall that one?
Well, this is what happened, when, of course, when Cain was scheduled to fight Brock Lesnar, we'll find out Cain's fighting Brock Lesnar. And guys, I remember I was in Las Vegas at the Rio, and this guy that's been in prison, he's right next to me gambling with me. And he goes, "What do you do?" I said, "All this." And he goes, "Oh, yeah." He goes, Brock Lesnar? I said, "Yeah." He goes, "That homie's bad. I've been in prison, la, la, la. That guy's a bad dude." And then he goes, and I said, "Yeah, I know, we're fighting him." He goes, who's your guy? I said, Cain Velasquez. He goes, "Man," he goes, "I'm down with La Raza." That's what a real Hispanic guy, he goes, "I'm down with La Raza, but homie, I got to tell you, your boy gonna get beat by Brock. That's a good old boy. He too big." And I said, "No, he's not." I go, "We're gonna how are you gonna beat him?" I said, "Simple. We're a better wrestler. He's a big guy, but we're a better wrestler. We're gonna beat this guy." And he's looking at me like I'm smoking crack or something. And I'm like, "We're gonna beat this guy." So a lot of people said the same thing, when they go, "Oh, what's Cain gonna do?" He's gonna out wrestle him. How? Well, he's a better wrestler. Cain's a better wrestler. Brock is a monster. But he's not a better wrestler. He's not up to peak form in wrestling, right? So I said, "No, we're gonna out wrestle him." I go, "What if he takes you down?" I go, "Well, get back up." That was the whole thing behind the whole fight. So now fast forward to the fight, and of course, Brock's the champ, right? So we're the first ones in. When Brock came up, Brock, and I went, "Oh my God, he was so big and intimidating, bro." I went, "How the hell we're gonna beat this guy?" And then I snapped out of it real quick. I went, "No, of course, gonna kick his butt." But man, his image of who he was and how big he was, I was like, "Oh crap, we're in trouble." Right? First went into my mind, we're in trouble. Then I woke up right away. I go, "What the hell am I thinking? This is not about looks. This is about skill, experience, in as far as ability and all that." And Cain had him beat in spades. Better striker, better wrestler, better conditioned. What Brock had looked very intimidating and good ass wrestler, but not a complete MMA fighter. Where Cain was being taught to be a complete MMA fighter. So yeah, for a split second though, I did get mesmerized by Brock's size. I was like, wow, how do we beat that guy? I was like going, oh wow. Then I woke up.
You saw him moving in the cage. He's super speedy and athletic. He's like a speed train. It's like a racing school bus with turbochargers on it.
More like a locomotive. More like a locomotive. But again, you had somebody that was like a stealth, miss, like a just side boom boom. That was Cain. You couldn't deal with that. You got a stealth missile going against your or whatever plane, right? He's like so fast and so accurate, and that was Cain. I mean, that was one of the ones where Brock Lesnar probably still will always remember Cain because he's got that giant scar that's forever in his face all the time. So, he'd be looking at himself thinking, I got this from that son of a gun.
He wants to come. There's talks on him coming back to the UFC. How about that? Maybe
it would be
UFC 300.
It'll be a huge hit. I mean, he's a monster star, He knows how to play for the camera. He very intimidating, Brock Lesnar is a superstar. So yeah, of course, and now the WWE is with the UFC, that they can do that. So I can see Brock coming into UFC, but maybe fighting a WWE superstar and let them do MMA. That would be cool as hell. That would be like him and one of the big names. I don't know the big names anymore, but like him and what do you call it?
Stone Cold, Steve Austin.
No, that's no. The other
The
guy,
Rock.
The guy,
there's a new guy.
The other guy that the long hair looks evil like.
Undertaker. I don't know. There's so many.
Undertaker. Yeah, him and Undertaker. They've been going at it before in MMA things. Are we doing this? Like when Brock showed up to fight Cain, the Undertaker was there. Like, are we doing this? Like, let's go. Like him and Brock. So just a promo thing. But I'm saying watching those two guys maybe go at it will get really fans' attention. But being that the Undertaker's probably far older now, I don't know if that's going to be much. How old is Brock now? 45, 46?
I would guess.
He's got to be up there. He's got to be up there.
I have no idea.
And the Undertaker's older, so these are two old guys now. But still, the fact that those two would go MMA, people who I would watch. I definitely would watch because that to me is good entertainment. Because look, we don't have a legit sport. MMA is not a legit sport. It's sports entertainment. If it was a legit sport, you wouldn't see a lot of these matchups that happen. You wouldn't see guys do what they're doing. You wouldn't see Nate Diaz be able to do a 5-round fight undercard and not fight for a title because Nate Diaz is a needle mover and fans love him. He can do that. So entertainment. So this is why this is happening because if you're a needle mover, then the UFC is going to be more open to doing things with you because they know you do things and you come on board with them. You make them money. You make money. They make money. Not too many people know how to work the promotions, but Nate Diaz is one of the good ones. He knows how to, really, really well. For a guy that's never been a champion, he is a champion. He makes way more money than a lot of champions because he knows how to move the needle. Nate Diaz is, hey man, thumbs up to him on anything he does because he's a G. He's a G.
He just killed it. He just killed it in his last fight. Did tremendous. It's interesting because I was listening to the Hulk Hogan podcast and you talk about pro wrestling versus MMA. And, you saw Brock come from that world and come over and just devastate a bunch of MMA fighters because the old thing, like it's all fake. Well, there are a lot of them. There's a difference, but the difference between a shoot and a work, like when they do it over in Japan, like one's actually a real fight. Yeah. Like the submissions are real. And then the other time they're just doing them for play. So they actually learn
Yeah.
real stuff. So it translates. It'll be
No,
funny to see someone
but you
come
got to
over.
remember, Brock Lesnar was a Division I champion. You know, he's
Yeah.
Division I champ. Come on, national champ. Give me a break. This guy is a monster of a guy, and he was a champion. So he wasn't a normal guy. He was like a Bruce, not Bruce, Severin, Dan Severin. He was a Dan
Yeah.
Severin type guy. He's a champion. You know,
With
come
more
on,
muscles.
you know, yeah, with more muscles than any hit. Yeah, it's like crazy. You know.
I remember Dan Severin back in the day. I met him once at a celebrity golf tournament, and we just talked about his family's catering business. That was my great encounter with him. But we got the fight in San Diego. We just saw Max Holloway knock out the Korean Zombie and retire him. Don't want to go through the full card there. What did you think about that fight? You got him. He's had a few rounds at Volkanovski. Hasn't been able to figure him out. You think that changes anything, or what do you think about what happens for Max here?
Well, I think Max is still number one contender, and he took out the Korean Zombie in very impressive fashion. Zombie came in bringing it, die by the sword, win by the sword. He came out guns a blazing and left himself open for a lot of counters, but also was connecting himself. So, but the thing of it is, when you got two trains colliding, and even though Max is not known for having a lot of power, still doesn't hurt to have the other person coming into the punch like Zombie was doing. He was coming in at him, so Max was meeting him, in the middle type of per se. Now, in other words, if you're coming forward, right, and I'm punching, and you're coming forward, then you're going to take more versus staying back here, relax, punch from the outside. But if you're coming forward like that, then the punch is getting you, because you're trying to knock me out. You may get knocked out yourself. And that was one of those cases, and it was such an exciting 3-round fight because the Zombie brought it. He was like this guy. He's a gunslinger, man. And then it's unfortunate that guys like that, they end up giving up the sport because they're so fun to watch, and he's such an icon, And but he's 36 too, so he's doing the right thing. It's like, hey, his thing was, if I can't be number one, then what's the point of me hanging in there? And he's got the right attitude. He's not there to entertain the crowd as much as he is to win a world title. And if he's out of that contention, then there's no reason why he should continue to do what he's doing. And I agree with him 100%. So he did the right thing by retiring. But he gave us all memorable fights of him. And I don't think there's any one person out there that does not appreciate the Korean Zombie. I think everybody that has seen this guy can appreciate what a great performer, what a great martial artist, and how he gave it his all and entertained everybody.
I agree. The other fights that we get coming up is Adesanya, Sean Strickland. Interesting fight. I thought Duplessis, or the guy from South Africa, was going to be fighting Israel, and looks like it's Sean Strickland, who's got a very unorthodox style of fighting it. He said it's because of injuries or something that he stands a certain way, because he has to stand that way and fight the way he fights. Do you think what do you think about this new challenge for Israel?
I mean, if Sean can't take him down and make him think about being taken down, it's going to be a repeat of what happened with
Alex,
with Alex, yeah, because they're both the same level type of stand-up guys. So, it's not in Sean's favor to keep it standing too long with a guy more experienced than you. Sean, for an MMA fighter, is unbelievable. He's an unbelievable striker, great timing, great everything. But for fighting someone of the caliber of Adesanya and Alex on a kickboxing level or a Thai boxing level, Sean's a little bit behind on those guys. Those guys got too much experience on him, and I think it's not to his advantage to stand with Izzy. He has a chance because he's a warrior. He comes to bang, so he does have a chance, but his chances are not as good. So anything can happen. With the fight, but obviously he's at a big disadvantage because he's not a takedown guy. He doesn't like to take you down, even if he is. He don't want to go to the ground. He's going to stand. And but I think that against Izzy, I just don't see his stand-up being, that level of what Izzy is. Izzy's at the top of the top. I mean, he's probably, when I'm saying this, I'm probably correct in what I'm saying. He's probably one of the greatest stand-up fighters in the MMA history. Stand-up. Another one that comes to mind that I thought was unbelievable was Mighty Mouse. Mighty Mouse is unbelievable stand-up. Unfreaking believable stand-up. But as far as the greats in stand-up, I think Izzy could very well be number one. In my opinion. So Sean Strickland's got that to go up against.
Yeah, I could see Izzy going for his legs early for some reason. I don't know why, but it's just the way he stands. It just makes me think that's what Izzy would do initially. I mean, Izzy can do plenty of boxing, but like he want to stay in the pocket with him, and that's where Sean's specialty is. So you don't want to fight at other guys' fight.
Well, I mean, you think about it, that's not really Sean's specialty compared to Izzy. Izzy's specialty is striking, bro. So Sean's chance might to be in boxing range. You know what I mean? But boxing still, that's still so dangerous. Yeah. That's still so dangerous. That's so dangerous with Izzy.
Minefield.
Because you're talking knee. You got knees. Speed. You got elbows. You got all that experience. Izzy's got a lot of fights, man. A lot of times you think this is what will happen. You think you're winning. You think you're doing great. And next thing you know, you make one mistake. You're not. And Izzy capitalized on your one mistake because that's what guys like him do with that kind of experience, And like I said, you do well. You think you're okay. Look at the Alex fight with Sean. Same thing.
They played possum.
All of a sudden then that left hook from hell comes, kaboom, and you're out. You mess up. That's what happens. Those guys you can't mess up. So Sean's a great striker, great MMA striker, but again, his weakness is he doesn't have that type of experience. That's it. As far as entertainment value, man, he's fun to watch. His interviews are awesome. He is awesome. He really is. He's an awesome interview guy. I don't know him personally, but he's an awesome dude. He comes across as a very good dude, and I hope he does well.
Yeah, I mean, we have probabilities are not in his favor because of Izzy's, excellent past. But at the same time, it's like, what if there's something that we don't see? And that's why we watch MMA. The thing that we don't see. The thing that we don't see.
It could happen. Yeah.
And something that Sean's seeing.
It can happen. Yeah.
He's like, okay.
It could be.
Between punch 6, 7, and 8, there's a window. I'm going to get it right there.
Yeah, exactly. But the odds are not on Sean's favor. But there is something. Maybe his corner. He's got real good corner people. Maybe they see something that they can capitalize on. But I'm telling you, what they see and what they believe they can capitalize on is going to be very difficult to do against somebody that the timing, and that experience level, man.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, it's a whole different ballgame to be in there with a guy of that skill set, on the stand.
Pretty flawless.
You're not threatening him. Yeah, you're not threatening him at all on takedowns. You're just going to stand with him. Man, he is that guy. That's unbelievable. The Plessis and him would have been a good fight because he was going to take him down. He was going to go guns blazing and look to take him down, and he's really good on the ground. Where Sean is good on the ground, but not the Plessis ability. I think he's a better ground guy, but I think Sean's a better striker. So you got variables, right? But
even if Sean was great on the ground, badass. Even if Sean was great on the ground, he'd still want to stand up because that's his nature, I guess. He wants to test his hands.
Yeah,
he's in love with his hands right now.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. He's really good. He's good at making you miss, making you pay. But now you're fighting a master that's got more than just two weapons. He's got knees, he's got elbows, he's got kicks, and he can box. He can box. So what are you going to show him? Not much. But what are you not going to show him? You're going to show him that you can't elbow, you can't knee, you can't kick like he can. You can probably box like him, but what else can you do like him? You can't do probably anything else like him. On the hand department, Sean can definitely hang. If it was just boxing, no knees, none of that stuff, then I'd say Sean does okay. He's still a little bit behind, but he did really good. But when you're talking about adding all the weapons, then definitely Adesanya is favored. How the fight happens, who's going to win, I don't know, but who's favored? Definitely Adesanya.
I watched that Khabib. I don't know if you saw that whole thing, but they sent you that podcast Khabib did recently. With I texted it to you on the phone, so maybe you haven't seen the link. but it was the Patrick Bet David, and it was something he just did recently. And he really went into, he brought up the relax story, how he was training with you, and he thought every time you said relax, that means attack. So go harder. He just thought you were pushing.
That happened. Yeah.
But that's like
that's why I didn't label. That's why I didn't label him a great champion right off the bat, because I go, man, this guy could be great right off the bat, but he doesn't listen. So it wasn't until he told me about a year later. Yeah. And remember, a year later, we're not talking about. Khabib was with us maybe the first fight, maybe 3-4 weeks tops. Then he left, and he didn't speak hardly any English at all. And he comes back again another 3 to 4 weeks, and then he leaves. So so basically he spent 8 weeks with us, which was a whole year's time. 8 weeks he spent of that with us. And then on the third time is when he come in. That's when he said, Coach, when you tell me to relax, I thought you meant go harder. That's why I go harder. And that's when I realized how great he was going to be. But I didn't realize how great he was going to be because I didn't think he listened. I go, man, the guy could be great. He just doesn't listen. You have to listen. If you don't listen, it's going to be very difficult, and I'm not talking about listen to me, listen to your coach, listen to somebody that has good advice for you, and I didn't think Khabib listened, but actually he did the opposite. He did listen. He's a great listener, but, at the same time, I tell you, he's a great listener. There is times when Khabib had it in his mind what he was going to do, and he wasn't going to listen to you. So there was times when Khabib didn't listen to me with Michael Johnson. He didn't listen to me the first round. He wanted to do what he wanted to do. With Conor McGregor in the third round, he wanted to stand more. He did a little bit of takedowns, but just to make me shut up. But he didn't really try, And also with when he won the title, he did the same thing. Khabib wanted to stand with the guy because he was hitting him too easy, like Muhammad Ali. He's jabbing. And I was afraid that the guy could take a good punch. And if he didn't watch out, the guy could end up KOing Khabib. And I was going to go, man, his father's going to kill me, because his father entrusted Khabib in my, for me to take care of him properly. And if here I'm having Khabib just stand when his father knows Khabib is absolutely the best on the ground out of any MMA fighter, then, why would I want Khabib to stand when he wasn't the best stand-up guy, but he's definitely the best ground guy. There's nobody better than him on the ground at his weight. No one. And still to this day, there is no one better than him on the ground. No one. There's people that give him a challenge on the ground, but there's no one better. Khabib's the best. So yeah, that's pretty much how it is. If you listen, great, but if you don't listen, it's because you don't want to listen. And Khabib been known to do that a couple times, 3 times.
3 times. Overall,
yeah.
most of the time he listened. But imagine if you were coming in and you only spoke Spanish, still you didn't spoke English, and you're being coached, and they're going, well, relax, and you're going, oh, go harder, okay, and you're training it like berserker style. That's hilarious. The one,
we'd have some problems, but
the one last thing I took from that, and I just want to share it with you. He had a really good point. He's like, we should really know who the hell is teaching our children. That was like, you should know them. You should have some sense of control as parents. That was what he said, I think, from his culture. And that was profound, because how many people just drop their kids off at the school and pick them up and don't know what happens for 12 years. You know what I mean? That was crazy.
Well, he learned that from his father, and his father came in 2015 to observe the training. He came to observe the training to make sure his son was in right hands. And, when Khabib went back home, he told me, yes, father approved. He liked it. He's comfortable with you, so his father didn't just send him out. His father wanted to see, okay, is my son being trained properly? Am I comfortable with this scenario? Am I giving my son, my blessings? And yeah, his father came to our gym. He watched and he gave the blessing. And otherwise than that, Khabib would never been here. And think about how great of a man and how great of a coach you are. And as a father, to let arguably one of the greatest of all time come train with another coach when you're a great coach yourself. His father's a great coach.
Yeah,
his father allowed him to come to train with us. So that's how his father was, as he wasn't one of those control individuals. He was one of those individuals very disciplinary, but control, no. Whatever was best for his kids, his fighters, he'd be all for it. But he wasn't swayed by He was swayed by what he's seen, and vision, and firsthand, watching the training is what sold on him what was good for his son, what wasn't good for his son. So yeah, his father was one of those great ones that people don't know how great he really was, because some people do, but not everybody, not the whole world knows how great he was. But I do.
Dagestan knows. They do for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dagestan, Russia knows. That country knows. Yeah. That was an amazing. Yeah, it was pretty well. If you guys haven't checked it out, it's out there with Patrick Bet David. Really good podcast with Khabib. So anything else coming up? Any fights in the next week or two, or you're pretty much just training Usman?
Daniel Allen is fighting the Contenders September 18th, 19th. So I'll be going to that. Then Usman October 7th in Bellator 300 in San Diego. And then we fly off for Islam Makhachev fight October 21st. And after that, I'll probably spend some time in Abu Dhabi, a month or two over there, working, doing other projects that I want to get involved in. So yeah, that's pretty much the plan.
That's pretty much awesome. I'm about to wrap. It was something that I forgot. I wanted to say earlier, and I was trying to hold it in my head. But basically, I think Khabib also relayed how he was saw Justin Gaethje slow down in their fight over there. He was only there a week. He's like, hey, jet lag. You were talking about how jet lag affects everybody. It's like that was his ring talk. He's like, oh, you got jet lag, huh? And just like the mental game of that. But jet lag's real. And how long does a fighter how long does any fighter have to be in a country? That's my last thing. We talk about Mexico City. You need to be there at altitude for 2 or 3 weeks. Altitude and
longer than the Mexico altitude. You should be there. I'm telling you, at least 6 weeks, man. That kind of altitude, it's like it's a mother. I never want to fight in Mexico, not because I don't love Mexico. The altitude, fight in Mexico, yes. Mexico City, hell no.
What about Denver? Denver, the same thing.
Denver's not as bad. Denver, you can hang. You've training here. You can do hyperbaric type training here.
Do the tent, hyperbaric chamber.
The tent. Yeah, you can do that type of stuff, and you'll do okay over there, but not as well as you would if you lived in Denver. I mean, that's better. But Mexico City, man, forget about it. That place is too high and polluted.
How far is the flight to Dubai? That's like 14 or 18 hours for us from California.
From San Francisco, there's about 16 hours. It's straight flight.
Yeah, I went out of Chicago, so I'm just saying wherever Gaethje's going out of to come fight, that'd be 18 hours. I would say 16 hours, 16 days, 18 hours, 18 days. That's my weird math. It's not scientific or anything, but I would guess the minimum. I mean, just taking a vacation myself. If I go to Europe, it takes a couple of days for that to wear off.
Yeah. Jet lag is real. The older we get, the realer it gets.
Well, thanks for an awesome podcast, Hav. I think people enjoy this one.
All right.
You have a good day.
All right, buddy.